Hey there, guys. This is Flamzeron, aka YouTube's Tasuke. Still sick, but I've been over the past few months. I have watched the first two seasons of Ring ni Kakero, or Put It All in the Ring, or Bet It All in the Ring, or whatever you want to call it. It's the anime based off of the boxing manga that Masami Kurumada, the creator of Saint Seiya, made before he made Saint Seiya, and it got an anime like a lot later after the manga got finished. It's not really new by any stretch of the imagination. It's like a 2005 show, I would say. I think even like 2003 or so. And it continued in OVA, so I think it went up to like either 2008 or 2011. I don't remember. But I watched the first two seasons, so I'm going to talk about those. You can consider this maybe a more complete review just because I don't know when I will get the chance to watch seasons 3 and 4, which are OVAs, because no one's subtitled those. I watched it online and it hasn't been licensed, so though if it does get licensed, I will definitely buy it, because then we'll probably get the entire series on DVD or something. It'll at least be in English. But yeah, season 1, it was pretty interesting. It starts off with Ryuji Takane and Jun Kenzaki having their little bout to see who gets to be the representative of their region. I forget what region specifically. Basically, their region for the Champion Carnival tournament, to become the just the Japanese representative for the World Tournament. And it's a really close fight. Ryuji, the protagonist, is very much like visually he looks like Seiya. And Jun, people say he's like Shiryu, but honestly to me he looks more like Iki. I don't know, I kind of get that vibe from him. He seems more like a Iki looking character to me. And they battle and or box, I guess I'll say. This is a boxing show. Basically, in the end, Jun wins, but he was punching really hard, and it really like killed his arm, and he had to get surgery in America. So Ryuji actually had to fight in his place and be the representative. It's kind of funny. Ryuji kind of becomes the representative of his region by default and fighting the other people that he ends up making friends with. So the first season is kind of him proving himself as a boxer. I mean, sure, him getting up to fighting, making it to the finals against Jun for his region, that counts for something, but at the same time, he's now fighting, like, a bunch of people from different regions to be considered the top boxer in Japan, including characters like Katori Ishimatsu, who's like the best friend character. He's voiced by Takeshi Kuzo, and he does a really good job. Then there's Kazuki, I believe his name, Kazuki Shinatora, who's like this Shinto. I say Shinto, but he's not really that. He's just really stern, and he's like a samurai. But what's the word? Kendo. That's the word I keep. He's trained in kendo, and he also boxes. He's voiced by Hideo Ishikawa. So. Oh, and Ryuji's Masakazu Morita, not that matters, but anyway, then, of course, Takeshi Kawai, who's sort of like, he kind of looks like a Shun character, though they're kind of different. He's not really, I guess he's kind of like a pretty boy, but anyway, the first season's kind of all their matches, though I mainly remember season 2, because that one I recently finished, so I even talked about it on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, but so basically, all of those characters I mentioned, they all win at least one match. I don't remember. I think it was Shinatora and Ishimatsu. They go at each other. It's either him. No, it's Ishimatsu and Takeshi. They go at it, and of course Takeshi wins, and then Ryuji and Shinatora, they go. Ryuji wins. And then it goes into Ryuji and Takashi, which, in this story, like Takashi, he's not really that good of a boxer. He's kind of cocky. And of course, Ryuji, he just beats the crap out of him. But it's kind of interesting because, like, in the middle of the fight, like, Takashi, he kind of, like, gets really serious. Like, he kind of gets his stride. And then the fight kind of becomes more interesting because Takashi's actually trying now. He is a trained boxer, but it's like he wasn't really taking it seriously at first. Ryuji ends up winning, and, you know, he uses his boomerang hook, which is more or less his Pegasus Meteor Punch. That's basically what it is. That's like his signature move, and it's kind of cool when he first uses it on another opponent because it plays the opening theme song, which is great, done by Marina Del Rey, that band that just does like all the Masami Kurumada songs. They play an instrumental version of it, which I can't find. So if anyone is watching this and is really into Rini Kakero and knows a lot of resources about it, if you can point me to where I can find like that instrumental version of the theme song that they play, not the karaoke version, it's like an actual instrumental with like a part filling in for the vocals, let me know. I think it's much shorter, but yeah. So basically, yeah, Ryuji wins, and so he becomes like the representative of Japan. Of course, obviously, for his like team, he's gonna have like the people he's fought as on his team, which ends up happening. But then we get on to season 2, where it starts off immediately after season 1. Basically, and this scene kind of goes into comes from season 1 as well. The junior champion of America, a guy named Black Shaft, who, as you'll see in the picture, is also black. But he comes in to like see the winner of the Japanese team, and he's all like, "Oh, these are a bunch of babies. Oh, they're not strong at all." And so they end up doing like this makeshift tournament. It's like, we're strong. Like, okay, prove it. We'll do a tournament. And so that's basically season 2. The Japanese team, they're trained. Of course, June returns, and they play the theme song when he comes in. So like, June. And so he's now part of the team as well, and he's all healed. And he met Black Shaft beforehand, so he knows about Black Shaft's skill. But it's kind of interesting this season. I'll get more into my thoughts on it as we continue. The first season, I felt like it was more about Ryuji trying to prove himself as a boxer and show that, yes, he didn't actually win the right to be the representative, but he's just as good, or he's worthy of being, or he would have been worthy. Basically, he's a good boxer. Like, he's not just some chump that they just like, okay, you fill in. Whereas the second season, I feel like, is a bit different. So Ryuji has his team filled with Ishimatsu, Takashi, Shinatora, and Jun. That's his team. But then Black Shaft, instead of hiring actual boxers from America, he hires a convict, this lady, I don't even know what she does, this biker guy, and then this mafia leader. I think the girl was an assassin. I don't remember, but basically he doesn't hire real boxers, and it's kind of funny how he does. It's like he's actually trying to kill them, and I think that's sort of like he's either trying to make it to where they're too scared to take part or whatever. But it's something. And Black Shaft, we see him a bit in the first season. He's voiced by Takahito Koyasu, who you'll recognize as Jade and Dio and whatnot. He does a good job. He doesn't really sound like... He sounds more like Dio, I guess, in terms of his like delivery. And there are times where he says English, which is actually kind of funny. And for character names, he'll say the first name and then the last name, as opposed to last name then first name, like a lot of... like how it generally is in Japanese. So yeah, he doesn't really hire real boxers, and that's a bit of a problem, because they're not really trained. He has to actually train them, I think. And so they're more skilled in just like hurting people. And these fights, they're more internal. Each character kind of has a moment to like, where they show more about their backstory, kind of like why they became boxers anyway. I don't remember all the details. I do remember with Shinatora, you know, his father was really kind of pressuring him to like be like super powerful and like, you're gonna be the heir to my kendo school, and made him do like the thing where like he has to pull out the ball and like the spinning blade thing, which he learns to do anyway. And of course Takashi, you know, he had his sister to like back him up. But his internal thing is more like a more recent thing, because like after they lose the after he loses the fight against Ryuji, like his sister feels like he needs to kind of learn to grow on his own. So she leaves and he starts like, it's weird. He like starts playing like this piano that has really hard keys, but that one I don't really understand that much. But though really at the end, like all the good guys win. Like they have these internal moments where like it shows them a weakness thing and they are losing, but then they win. And of course, when June comes up, he just knocks the guy out like immediately. And that's kind of that they take this time to sort of I say they, but really probably Masami Kurumada. Kurumada uses this point to show that June's fighting ability is a little more supernatural. Not supernatural, but it's otherworldly. Like it's getting to a point where he's so powerful that he's a little more out there. Like they mentioned something about like something about like splitting atoms, I think. I don't entirely remember, but basically June is really powerful. And then of course Ryuji has to fight Black Shaft. This one's a little more structured differently. Like it's not really like a progression thing. It's more like each person kind of takes their turn, and the way they set it up, because up until when they get to Black Shaft, it's like everyone had all the good guys had won, so it's like it doesn't even really matter if he loses, right? Well, no. The way they explain it is that because the people they fought besides Black Shaft were not boxers, none of those wins actually count. So Ryuji literally has the entire tournament, the result of the tournament weighing on his shoulders. If he loses, they lose the entire tournament. And his sister, who's sort of like the smart boxer, she's like the brains of the group. Ryuji's more of the brawn. She's not there because she also wants Ryuji to kind of learn to be smart as well and not rely on his sister. But so, and this is where the fights actually get kind of interesting again, because it's two boxers fighting each other, so it's not just like this boring thing going on, you know. Since Black Shaft is a boxer and Ryuji is also a boxer, it's a more interesting fight. And of course Ryuji wins and he gains Black Shaft's respect and they become friends. I kind of got the impression that after Shinatora's fight, Black Shaft started to realize, well, this group is actually pretty powerful. At that point, he starts to realize, okay, this group is strong. And they're not the babies I thought they were. That's the impression I get. Either that or he's becoming more calm because he knows that, like, they won't count the other fights because they weren't boxers. But this entire thing, I don't mean to kind of go all, like, college academic, every piece of a story has symbolism mode on you, even though I personally think that way about a lot of stories anyway. But I feel like, based on what I have heard about the history of anime, the whole Disney and Tezuka thing, that this almost seems sort of like a comment on America, that like, oh, America lies, and you know, they don't put in like full effort. They try to like get by with just like getting whoever they can or something. Or that America's corrupt or something. That's sort of the impression I got based on what I've learned from anime history. Of course, Black Shaft, he is a bit of a poopy head, so. But again, I feel like he kind of learns things, and I don't know. Though, as far as the series itself, I think I kind of like Saint Seiya better. I can tell that this series is also trying to do the sort of the whole going against the odds and like the underdog winning thing. But I think because of the whole boxing thing, it makes it kind of hard for. Of course, I say that, but they could have one of the good guys lose. It's like, would it really be that big a deal if one of them lost? Like in the second season, none of the good guys lose a match. They come close, but they don't actually lose. I feel like it would have been better if they actually lost, even if it ultimately didn't count. I guess you could have called that a cop-out if they do that, but at least the good guys would have lost. I feel like there's not much at stake. And that's just me. But I feel like Saint Seiya does it better because characters actually get defeated. And I also think I kind of like it better, like Saint Seiya better, because boxing is a very structured fighting style with very little wiggle room, I guess. Basically, like since Saint Seiya is more of a general martial arts story, the fights are more interesting because they're not just boxing. This Rini Kakero is definitely a sports anime, whereas Saint Seiya is more like the shonen martial arts. But yeah, overall, it's okay. I'm not entirely too pleased with it. I did see the first episode of season 3 because this one group did sub the first 3 episodes, so I was only able to get the first episode before they closed down. And this season 3, from what I've seen, I think it's going to be more interesting because it's actually outside of the ring. So I think it has the potential to be really interesting. And I hope that someone licenses it and puts it on DVD, because then I will buy it. I don't think it's bad. I don't know. There might be some fan out there thinking, you don't understand how deep this story is. I'm sure it's got like its strong moments, but honestly, I just feel like Saint Seiya is just better. And I feel like it's just generally crafted better too. Like this show made me see the stronger points of Saint Seiya. So I feel like this show's this series made me more of a Saint Seiya fan. I wonder if Dr. Slump will do that with Dragon Ball Z, but we'll have to see how that goes in the future if I ever decide to watch it. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Rini Kakero. It's okay, but I think I like Saint Seiya better. I've probably edited out like several coughs and several deadlines, but this will be fun to edit. But yeah, that's Rini Kakero for you. I'll hopefully get a chance to see the last 2 seasons at some point. But yeah, this is Flamesron, aka YouTube Sasuke, signing out. See you later.